Welcome to Deep Dive. I'm your host, Kevin Benedict, and I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I want to introduce our guest for this episode, Nancy Porte. She's the Global Customer Experience Vice President at Verint. Thanks for joining us, Nancy.
Thank you for inviting me for today. I'm very excited to talk with you.
Excellent. So where are you calling in from today?
Well, today I am in one of our offices in Alpharetta, Georgia, but I'm usually in my home office in Idaho or in one of our other offices around the world.
Idaho, what a great place to live, Nancy.
I heard we have that in common.
I know, and what's funny for all the viewers out there is I live in Idaho as well. I'm out of Boise, but I'm just a few miles down, 18 miles down the road from where Nancy is today. I'm dialing in from a hotel here in Atlanta, Georgia. So we're both from Idaho, but we have to go to Atlanta to do a video conference. That's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. It is, but we travel a lot. I think the two of us. So it's not unusual to find us here.
Absolutely. So you're in a very interesting role there at Verint. But before we get into that, why don't you just introduce yourself to our viewers? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
You bet. So my name, as Kevin said, is Nancy Porte, and my role here at Verint is really organizing our customer experience program. We've had this program in existence now for about 5 years, so we've gone through quite a bit of growth and change, not only with the company, but with our program. So I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And before Verint, I was in a company called Bovisi, which was also a customer feedback company. We had an enterprise feedback management product, and then we're acquired by Verint.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and
you know
as Kevin says, I live in Idaho.
Yes, absolutely. So customer feedback seems to be like, I'm hearing about it and reading about it, and there's a lot of updates about it out there right now. So This is going to be a fascinating area. I've interviewed a number of experts just in the last month on customer feedback and all that. So I'm really interested in getting your perspective. But you work at Verint, and not everybody's familiar with Verint. So why don't you give us just, a little bit of a briefing there?
Absolutely. So Verint is the customer engagement company, and we help organizations engage their customers by simplifying, automating, and modernizing a lot of what they do. So when you look at our solutions, we actually provide ways to give organizations more customer insights through advanced analytics, automation, and AI in a way that they actually create more operational efficiency while improving their customer experience at the same time.
And you were able to say that and read that without your glasses?
Yeah, because maybe because we live it every day. But I think one of the cool things for me is working with a company that is helping other companies improve their customer experience. And my role within the company is how we improve our customer experience. Yeah. So it makes it a little bit easier for me, I think, to articulate our mission because I believe in it, and it's what I do each day internally to Verint.
So Nancy, it seems like everywhere I turn today and just about everything I'm reading, people are talking about the experience economy and how it's all about customer experience. Why now? Why is that the subject everybody's talking about?
I think that what's happened is where we've gone is, you used to have a really unique product or the best pricing to be a differentiator for your business. But today, those things are also easily duplicated. You find out about a product, you can build a better product. You find out about pricing, you can provide better pricing. What's really the differentiator and what's driving business impact today is the customer experience that they provide. So that is the differentiator. You look at study after study of what customers expect, and customers expect it, your company to be easy to do business with. They really expect you to be proactive in their communications. And that's on top of, the table stakes. Your product should work, and your pricing should be good, and that's all. That's not a differentiator anymore. That's what they expect. So the layer above that, around the experience from the time they're aware of your product through the purchase process, through the support process, that whatever type product you have throughout the entire customer life cycle, they do expect the experience to be great. They expect you to care about the customer experience at every single turn and with every single interaction. So I think that's why we're hearing so much about it.
Well, yeah, and I think that more and more of our interactions with our vendors are online, aren't they?
They are.
And so
they are. And
the only point, it's not like we're shaking somebody's hand and we're walking through a store and we're smelling and feeling and all that necessarily. When it's a digital environment, it all has to be, how are we being treated digitally, isn't it?
It is. And then you may even be able to layer another level of complexity. And that is, if you are in the store and then you opt later to do something in a digital channel, the customer expects you to know them. They expect you to know what they did in the store, and maybe if they were unsuccessful in doing something, how they can successfully do that online, or even the reverse. Maybe they started an interaction online, but they decided that they needed to talk to a person if it was a more complex interaction. So they it's more than like. They demand that you're able to know who they are, what they've done in another channel. So that sounds very reasonable from the customer standpoint, doesn't it? But for companies to actually deliver that persistence and that service at every turn, they really do need that new generation of solutions and processes.
So, Nancy, I lived this yesterday. I got this email. It's from this shirt company called Untitled. And
one of my husband's favorites.
Yes, mine too. And so I got the email yesterday after I got off the plane, and it said, click here to see a store near you. And I thought they were just online. So I clicked here, and it said, you are 6-minute walk from the nearest store. And I went, seriously? So I walked over there after I got to the hotel, and I walked in, and they said, oh, so what size of shirt have you ordered from us before? And I said, I don't know, but maybe you have a record. He was there with an iPad. He just put it in and said, oh, Kevin Benedict from Idaho? And I said, yes. He said, you wear this size. So, I thought that, oh, that is great. They know me. They know me in the store, even though I'm in Atlanta, not in Boise, Idaho. And it was just a really great experience. I didn't have to go through the process of, trying different sizes of shirts and all that. And I spent money with them. So it was a great experience. So that's a real life example yesterday.
And even more, I think more importantly, you'll probably spend money with them in the future.
Yeah. It's almost guaranteed. So,
and that's one of the things that we're realizing too in business. When in business, I would say even 15 years ago, we were always looking for that next new customer. And you asked earlier, why is customer feedback and customer experience so important right now? And that it's changed. Certainly we want the next new customer, but we're also realizing that you need to hang on to the customers that you already have. If you're already always searching for new customers, but you're losing them faster than you're getting them, it's kind of a non-productive battle, isn't it? But
absolutely.
The idea, so the idea of keeping your customers, having them purchase more, being delighted with your service so that they're recommending to people that they know and you're increasing your business that way, all makes good business sense.
Mm. So I've seen two different phrases being used a lot. Customer experience on one hand and customer success. I've seen different vendors, software vendors,
Right.
identify themselves as in different categories. I'm a customer success company. I'm a customer experience. But today, is that one and the same, or are they different silos in your estimation?
That's a really good question, Kevin, because I see them as a very complementary but very, very different types of interactions. But both are relatively new areas. Both customer experience and customer success are in their early stages. So you'll see them kind of in different forms in different companies. Okay. But I'll give you my version of the story. I think they're very, very complementary because customer experience is tasked with looking at what is the customer experience overall with the company. And they're usually tasked with measuring that experience too. So they can give you an overall relationship or loyalty score, but also understand at every interaction where the satisfaction is up or it's down. So they're measuring the customer satisfaction at every point. They're also developing trends and looking at key drivers. What are the things that customers want most? So they're really looking at it at an enterprise level. How are we serving our customers? Where can we do better? Where can we engage them more? And how do we build that loyalty? Customer success is an organization, and you're right, you mentioned that you see a lot of the software vendors developing this role. It's particularly relevant there. The customer success team is responsible for ensuring the success of their list of accounts. So each customer success manager may have a list of accounts, and they really, the best thing they can do is, if they are in a software vendor company, they are looking at how can we help those customers get the most use and the most productivity and the best impact on business operations with our software. And so that really means we work individually with each account and understand their business needs, and then understand how your software can support and integrate with those business needs and make them successful. So experience really helps the success group because they can see what the interactions are. Mm-hmm. The success group is critical to the success of the customers.
So finding out how successful your company is at achieving good levels of customer experience and in the customer success area requires getting feedback. And I saw that you're involved in initiatives around the voice of the customer. What does that mean to you?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's probably the most important part of what I do, and I think my associates who practice customer experience do, and that is understanding the business from the customer viewpoint. But here's the critical piece. It's not only understanding, but then it's sharing and bringing into the organization that customer viewpoint. So what I mean by that is that organizations throughout time have been built on how can we make ourselves more efficient as we serve customers. So, the idea of departments is really popular, and because it's more efficient. You put people who are, better at doing a single function in a group, and then you put the other single function in that group, and it's efficient for a company. What that's done over the years, though, is create a number of silos for organizations, and customers have been challenged in some organizations at being able to maneuver through those different organizations to get what they need if they have a problem or if they're trying to use a certain product. Bottom line is that when you talk with customers, when you get feedback from customers, when you really live how customers use your product and understand that and bring that into the organization, there are a lot of aha moments internally about, wow, if I was a customer, I really wouldn't want to have to go to 3 places to get my problem solved. Or I really wouldn't like to say the same thing to 4 people before I finally get someone to understand what the solution is. So I think that that a big part of the feedback is then bringing it back into the organization and getting people to say, oh my gosh, if I was a customer, I wouldn't like it to be this way. I think what we need to do is change our processes, change our systems to actually support what a customer would want. And it may be more efficient for the business, maybe a little less efficient, but it's overall it's productive for the business because it's better for the customer.
Great, I understand.
That was sort of a long-winded answer there, but feedback is invaluable to, I think, a business who wants to create a good customer experience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many of us that think we know everything about our customers and the industry. Even if the customers don't yet know it, we'll show them they should do it our way, but that's not a very effective way, is it?
Right.
I see that you also talk a lot about customer-centric culture. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. Customer-centric culture is really important. It's important to us at Verint, and I think it's part of a customer experience practice. Customer-centric culture really is based on understanding the customer and really taking that understanding to every single level of the organization and helping employees understand what their role is in meeting customer expectations. But then the most important part to me is really empowering employees to serve the customer in a way that creates that increased customer satisfaction and that elevated customer experience.
And I imagine all these things we're talking about, you know, it can't just be a great customer experience to the detriment of the business. So let me ask you this question. Is there a way of increasing customer profitability at the same time as improving the experience and driving customer loyalty?
Yeah, another great question, because people will say, oh my gosh, customer experience can be expensive because what you're going to want me to do is add all these systems and you're going to want me to, you know, do all this training and education and add people to serve the customer. In reality, what happens is you not only find ways to serve the customer better by maybe you add a system or improve the system that you already have, you also find out you have a lot of redundancy. And you find out that you have maybe you're investing in certain areas of the organization that you thought were critical to the customer experience, but the customers don't think is that critical to customer experience. So in most cases, when you provide a well-synchronized customer experience, you are very likely to actually decrease your operational expenses. And this is a big part of journey mapping. Actually, we do a lot of journey mapping in our organization where we actually walk through not only the customer interactions, but then all the systems and processes that support that.
And as we talked about earlier, it's probably less costly to keep a customer than it is to go find new ones all the time, isn't it? Yeah,
without a doubt, it really is. You know, customers already have made the purchasing decision, and so serving them and showing them other products that they could buy that would enhance their business operations is in my estimation great business. Not only do they repurchase more, but they are more likely to recommend you to other people who could use your products and services. So they end up being advocates and ambassadors for your company. And, you know, a lot of the research shows now that prospects actually believe other customers, you know, X number of times more than the organizations that are out there saying, we can do this for you and we can do that for you. That's great. But they really want to talk with a customer who's actually used your products and services and have had success with them. So having those brand advocates is really, really important.
Brilliant. So let's talk about customer journey mapping. What does that look like on a tactical level? You know, how do you do that, and what is the value of creating that journey map?
Yeah, we, as I said, we use journey mapping a lot and feel there is a lot of value in the journey mapping. There's a lot of different processes out there in design when you work on a journey map. We tend to collaborate very heavily with a lot of different areas. We internally, but we also collaborate with our customers. So we will do a journey map. Maybe we've done journey maps that have been from very beginning to end of a customer journey. And we've also done journey maps of very, very specific interactions and really just looked at one specific area of the business. But as I said, we spend a lot of time collaborating with people who actually provide that interaction or that service, but then we always validate with our customers. In fact, one of the things that we do is we have what we call a customer experience zone in our annual customer events, and we have quite a few of those around the globe. And we're very transparent and show our journey maps to our customers that attend those conferences, and we talk with them. Do we have this part right? Do we have this part right? And so we're always updating, we're always validating with customers. So why do we do this? Because the bottom line is it helps us understand how to serve them better, and it helps us work with the entire organization to show them how they can serve the customers better as well, because it really shows a different view of the interactions, and it's from the customer view, it's not from ours.
So Nancy, when you look at a customer, think about a new customer, do you have like an average customer is valued to us at this amount? Is that a typical scenario? So let's just make something up. An average customer first year is going to be worth $500 to us. But over their lifetime, they may have a value of $5,000 to our company. So if we look at a customer as a $5,000 customer, we're going to treat them different than if we look at them as just a $500 customer. Do you guys take all that under consideration?
I do, in a slightly different way. So when we journey map, typically the way we can segment in different ways and say, we're looking at a specific type of customer for this journey map. Typically though, what I'll do is on that level, I'm looking at a customer that's using a specific type product, or whether they're using the product in maybe in a single area of their company or in an enterprise. So it's more what they're using and how they're using it. Where we look at the revenue that they bring in is when we look at lifetime value.
Okay.
When we look at that, and that's part of another really important part of customer experience, and that is the return on investment of customer experience. So where I try and use those numbers is where I say, if we improve the customer experience by this much, we retain these many customers at this value, and so the value of a good customer experience is this, because we can see that we save that many
quantifying it, putting a number on it. That's brilliant.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Nancy,
it's a little easier than it is, but
yeah, no, I understand because you could segment by overall customers or by customer category or the large enterprise, small to medium-sized business. What products do they use? I could see you could cut it up any number of ways to see a value there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and different groups would then have the cost center. So yeah, it's going to be, I could see that's going to be complex, isn't it? Very good.
It is.
So customer experience, the whole kind of discipline of customer experience has changed a lot over the last few years. But where do you see it? How do you see it or anticipate it evolving over the next 5?
I'm really excited for the next 5 years. I think the past years have been building a really strong foundation for the practice, and it has, I feel like we've passed those early days, and now it's being much more recognized, and you see customer experience as part of almost most organizations now have some form of a customer experience practice. So I think what's going to happen, though, in the next 5 years is we're going to become much more sophisticated on the analytics side with our customers. I mentioned earlier that our customers want to deal with us through a number of channels. that creates a lot of challenge for the customer experience professional, because we used to be really comfortable with just doing surveys, but now we're finding, the surveys can be the backbone of your feedback, but you also need to go into the call center. You need to hear what people are saying. You need your speech analytics tools. You can use a number of other tools to do text analytics and things like that, and really look across the organization on what are all those conversations with our customers, and get a much more complete view of what customers expect, how we're serving them, and where's the gap that we can fill. So I think in the next 5 years, we're going to become masters at looking at all of the different channels, but more importantly, then bringing that in and making it coherent to the organization. And this is what our customers are saying, and these are the trends that we're seeing in customer experience. I also think we're going to see customer experience. I think through the efforts now, where a lot of us are looking at the return of an investment in customer experience, we're also going to see it as just, this is just part of doing business now. You have a customer experience practice in every single business, because the customers expect it, and you're not going to survive without always assessing and improving your customer experience and having someone responsible for overseeing that.
All right.
So,
well, Nancy, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance and your experience, and all the fun things you guys are doing there at Verint is brilliant, and it's very helpful and enlightening. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kevin. You made it a delightful visit. So it was a pleasure.
Go Idaho.
Go Idaho.